Hi folks, I'm Dale Fredricks, and this is Grady Puffin. Grady's a 10-month-old quarter horse stallion. We bought him close to 3 months ago, and at that time he wasn't halter broken. He was real shy about his head. In fact, the closest I could get to him was right up about here at his shoulders. So the way I went about halter breaking him is I got a halter with about a 22-foot lead rope on it. And I knew I couldn't get a halter on him in this big of an enclosure. So I got as close to his head as I could right here, and I threw the halter on the ground, and I eased this around his neck. Okay, and whenever I did, he took off. I mean, it scared him. So as he took off, I tried to let the rope slide through this hand and tried to pull it with this hand. So that I ended up with two ropes about the same length. And I didn't try to just jerk him around and stop him right there, but I did want to get him to face me and allow me to approach him. So while I was doing this, I would work to one side a little bit just to make sure these ropes didn't come off over his head. And believe me, at first he was nothing like this. He was at the other side of the stall. So when I finally got him facing me, I approached him, and then I worked this rope up closer to his head. And like I mentioned, he was very shy about his ears and his muzzle, which is normal for a horse that hasn't been handled. So I gradually just started moving my hand around his ears, and he would take his head away and put it over here. And you don't want to make a big deal of it, just be persistent. Just keep kind of nonchalantly working your hand up there. And then I would work my other hand down over his face. And the same thing with his muzzle. He would take his muzzle. He was real shy about his muzzle. So I just started getting him used to that. And then I would run my hands over his body just to try and get him used to being touched. Okay, the same thing with his legs. At first, he was real protective of them. And I would run my hand down here and he would try to take his legs away from him. So I just kept after that until he would bear the touch of my hand. And you don't want to try to pick their feet up until they can stand you touching them. Okay, and then after that, this rope has it's fairly stiff. So what I would do when he would take his nose away, I would just make a loop and bring it over like this. Get him used to having his nose over here. And in that way too, I could continue to get him desensitized around his muzzle area and his ears. Then from there, I would get the halter in. I got the halter in my hand, got him just used to the sight of it. Then I got him where he could stand to have it around his face, be touched with it. Okay? And then after all of that, and this took probably 2 lessons, then I was finally able to get the halter on him. As you can see now, he's not worried at all about it. And when you put a halter on them, you want to make sure that it's big enough. This halter is just on the verge of being too small. You want to make sure that there's a little bit of room here that's not tight on their face. So once I got him to that point, the next thing I want to do is to get him to yield to the pull of the halter. And it's going to be kind of hard to show because he doesn't hardly give me a chance to tug on the halter anymore. But at first they're not going to want to have anything to do with you. So he's going to be over here pulling on the halter, and I'm just going to take the slack out of it and just hold it until he takes a step forward. And then I'll instantly release it, just to give him relief from the pressure, a reward. And I like to do that from in front of them, but off to the side a little bit, off to either side. I think it's a little easier to get them to move than pulling straight ahead. And all this time I'm continuing to get them used to being touched. And I do all this on both sides, of course. It's really amazing how fast these colts can transform. This colt I've probably worked between 12 and 15 times since we got him. But I've also, in addition to that, I've been in the stall many times, just cleaning out the waters and whatnot and petting him. So he's a lot more comfortable around people. And once I got him where he'll give to the pull on the halter, then I'm going to start getting him to lead alongside of me. And at first I'll pull a little bit, because he's used to the pull on the halter by then. And I'll cluck to him. And you can just take a couple steps at first and then gradually increase it. And then when I want to stop him, I'll stop and I'll say whoa. And then if he keeps going, I'll put pressure on the halter. I'm not going to bump him at this point because I want to keep everything real calm. In fact, I talk to them a lot, just trying to keep them calm. I want the first few lessons to be a positive experience for them. Now, of course, when I first say the word whoa, he's not going to know if I mean stop or go get the mail. But that's how we teach him. The first thing I'm going to do, again, is stop my forward motion and then say whoa. Then if I have to, I'll put pressure on the noseband. And I'll get him used to backing up a couple steps too. Then once I got him to that point, I like to do kind of a little mini lunging thing. Well, I might mention too that I'll start using this fairly early, because I want to teach him the clucking sound and what this little whip means, and also the word whoa. So I'll cluck to him and then I'll tap him a little bit. Once I'm sure he's okay with that, then I can lead him in a normal fashion like this. And if I have to, I can reach around behind me and tap him a little bit. Then to further his education of those few aids, I'll do like a little mini lunging thing here. I'll make him stand for a minute. Then I'll cluck to him, show him my whip, get him to walk around a little bit. I'll say the word whoa and stop him. And you see how he kind of comes in toward me? I want him to get where he'll just stop going straight ahead, but he's doing really well. We'll try it one more time. I'll get him to stand there for a second or two. Then I'll cluck to him. Walk him around again. And I'll stop him again. I'll push him back over. And gradually they'll just get better and better, and then when you do want to lunge them for real, they already have an idea about it. And up to this point I haven't tied up this colt either. I want to get him used to the pull on the halter. When he's leading pretty well in here, then I start taking him outside. And the first time I'll just go a little ways, because these young horses, they're probably going to be antsy about leaving their barn buddies, and they're going to be spooking at everything outside. But as they get out more and more often, they're going to get more confidence. So I'll start taking them further and further. And then I'll also start tying them up. And the first couple times you tie them up, I wouldn't recommend tying them to a fence like this, because they might pull back and then jump ahead and stick a leg through it. So I like to tie them to something solid or to a tree. The first couple times I tied him up was to a tree. Then once you're sure that they're going to be okay, then you can start tying them up to something like this. Then once I've got them to that point too, I want to start picking up their feet. Start getting them used to that. And you can do that tied up or just holding onto the lead rope. Just keep in mind that the first time or two you pick up their feet, it might scare them because you're taking away their means of flight, which is very important to a horse. So I would recommend the first time or two, like I'm on the right side right now, so put your left hand on their shoulder, just in case they do jump into you or something, you can push your body away. Then with your right hand, just run it down here and pick up their foot. And you don't need to, that would be fine for the first time right there. Then as they get better, you can pick it up and hold it up longer. And once I'm sure they're going to be okay, I'm going to use in this case, my left hand to pick it up. And I might just hold it for a second or two. And the same thing with the back. Let me go on the other side so the camera can see it a little bit better. Again, in this case, I would put my right hand on the hip and reach down and pick it up with my left hand. And then once I'm sure they're okay, I'll just use my right hand like this. And you don't want to make a big deal out of it if they jump around and get scared. Just outlast them. Just stay calm and you'll get it. Well, that's about what we've done with him up to this point. I'd like to take this time to thank my wife, Sandra. She's the one that does all the filming, and she puts these videos on the internet. She irons my shirts and a whole lot more. So thank you, darling, for all you do. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, God bless you all.